last thing you remember? I had a glimpse into the past. You're going to have to do for me what I once did for you. You'll need me as well. Side by side to end this war before it ever begins.
So, I wake up in my younger body, and then what?
Find me. Convince me of all of this. It's going to take the two of us.
And where do I find you?
A different path. A darker path. Logan, I was a very different man. Lead me. Guide me. Be patient with me.
Patience isn't my strongest suit.
I don't want your suffering. I don't want your future.
Please. We need you to hope again.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of That Movie Show. Mike Wendt, Liam Stryker.
Hello.
And we're doing X-Men, Days of Futures Past, as voted on by you, our viewers and listeners.
We had what was it, May Madness?
Kind of, yeah. The Tournament of X-Men.
Yeah.
It was about a 3 or 4 week bracketed tournament.
Slugfest.
Absolute slugfest. We took out the obvious winners, which were, of course, Logan, the Deadpools.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just the X-Men one. And, yeah, you guys voted, and Days of Futures Past came out the winner, even though nobody knew exactly what they were voting for.
No.
We never said that we're going to review this, but because Dark Phoenix was coming out, I would hope you could put A and B together. Yeah.
Yeah. I have thoughts about that.
I do too.
So I have been hearing all of the reviews of that movie that it's awful, which is exactly what I've been saying, because this movie was in development hell, got released twice to test screenings. And everybody was like, this is bad. So they went and reshot it.
I didn't know all this.
Yeah. So Dark Phoenix had troubling times.
Well, luckily, it's also being heralded as the last X-Men movie for a while.
Well, it's the last like real Fox X-Men, right? Because the next time we see the X-Men, it will be in the MCU.
Correct.
And that will be 1,000% different.
And they got to figure out how they're going to do that, how they're going to introduce them, how they're going to work them into their already busy schedule.
Yeah, right.
And according to some executive at Marvel, apparently, if we're going to call them X-Men or X-People.
Oh, that's
because
stupid.
isn't X-Men a bit too played out at this point? I'm sorry, I just saw the interview today and was like, really?
That's stupid.
Really?
Really? I'm not a fan.
Relax.
Yeah, I think we can relax on that.
Settle down, true believer. So X-Men Days of Futures Past was released May 23rd, 2014. It had a budget of $200 to $205 million. Came back with $747.9 million at the box office. It stars Hugh Jackman, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Halle Berry, Anna Paquin, Ellen Page, Peter Dinklage, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, and more people I'm not going to list off.
Yeah.
Written by Simon Kinberg, directed by Bryan Singer. And this was the one that kind of melded the timelines, if you will, or corrected the broken timelines.
Biggest problem with this movie.
This was basically the one Deadpool was making fun of?
Yes. Yep.
Because they're all in it?
Yeah, so this is my biggest problem with the movie. So we have the original X-Men trilogy.
Yes.
And then after that, we have Wolverine,
Mm-hmm.
the Wolverine.
The Wolverine.
Right?
Where he's a ninja.
And so then basically after those after those 3 movies, and then in between it, they had X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yes, they did.
They were like,
With obviously the superior Deadpool.
Right, with the much far superior Deadpool, Barakapool, as the internet likes to call him.
Okay.
They had the same issue that Sony has with Spider-Man, right? So the deal that Sony has with Spider-Man is they're allowed to keep the rights as long as they have they make a movie.
As long as they keep making movies,
They keep making the movies, and they have like a window. So you have to make a movie every so many years.
That's why they kept rebooting Fantastic Four as well.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. So that they're trying to maintain the rights so that they can still have the rights to the
so they can keep doing it
franchise.
Right, exactly.
And that's why Andrew Garfield was
Spider-Man.
rebooted as Spider-Man and all that fun stuff.
Sure.
So you make the original X-Men trilogy, and The Last Stand kind of fizzles out.
That was the Brett Ratner one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the one. That's basically the Dark Phoenix is what they end up doing in that movie.
Okay.
And so there's that. And then
full disclosure, I've seen all of them once.
Yeah. So basically the X-Men trilogy the original one culminates with Jean Grey becoming the Dark Phoenix, and she's going to ruin everything and Wolverine kills her. Right? That's basically what ends up happening in that movie.
Right.
And so they have to rebuild.
When she was still Famke Janssen.
Right. Correct. Okay. And so then they did the 2 Wolverine solo movies.
Sure.
And they didn't do great.
Nope.
So they decided to reboot the franchise. So they do X-Men First Class.
Mm-hmm.
And so First Class tells a story of a young Magneto and a young Professor X.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the first X-Men class at the Charles Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters.
Hence the name.
So now you have a viable franchise because First Class is very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very good. And so now you have this problem.
You have a valid rebooted franchise.
Right. You have a valid rebooted franchise. But now you have a franchise that doesn't have Hugh Jackman in it, who everybody loves.
But he did cameo in First Class.
He cameoed in First
Told him
Class.
to fuck off.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was there.
Yep.
So he's he's always been Wolverine.
But the problem
he didn't need de-aging.
Oh, no, he didn't at all. And so
we learned that in this one because time travel.
Yes. And so
through sleep.
Yeah, through sleep. And so now they're trying to meld everything together so that you can take the proper characters from because you have Patrick Stewart.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And you want to use him.
Ian McKellen,
and so you want to use them, but you also want to use McAvoy and Fassbender. So it's like you want to have your cake and you want to eat it too.
Yeah.
And so we're going to get into the plot of this movie, but the problem that I have is this movie ends and then they make 2 more that disregard the original 3 movies.
Right.
And it's just so you're telling me that this Dark Phoenix movie that's coming out this week or just came out whenever the hell this gets released.
Yeah.
That takes place in 94 and the rest of the X-Men movies take place in the early 2000s.
Well, that was one of the things I looked up. This one, the scenes with Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen are 2023.
Correct.
And everything else is 70s, obviously. But in the comics, it was supposed to be in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Was that just because that's when they were released then? And,
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Basically, it makes an interesting point that now the MCU is caught up to them.
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe that happens.
Maybe.
Doubtful.
They're going to wipe the slate clean. Because I'd rather watch the MCU version of the Dark Phoenix than the Last Stand version or this one.
Okay.
Or the Days of Future Past.
Yeah, this movie was so confusing.
Yeah.
It was really confusing, especially for someone who's not a huge fan, which I admittedly am not a huge fan of the X-Men.
Right.
Like I said, I've watched them all once, and I think I burned through them all in a week right before Logan came out.
Right.
So it was it was one of those things I'm like, well, I'm going to see Logan.
So I got to see everything.
So I'm just going to figure out what the hell is happening with these people and who these people are, which I didn't really need to, and I probably would be better off if I didn't with my life.
Right.
But I did it. And I just...
So,
okay,
you ready for nerd?
Here's my first big question from this actual movie. So Peter Dinklage,
yes,
his character's name is Trask.
Yeah,
is it Tony Stark?
It's not. He's not Tony Stark, but it's a character.
I mean, they literally just rearranged Stark and made Trask.
Yeah, it's not.
Because I'm watching it, I'm like, is this something where they just didn't have the rights to Tony Stark?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because he basically created Ultron.
Right. That is basically.
I mean, Jesus Christ, he created Ultron.
Yeah. So that's the. That is the.
Fucking tangled up here.
I know. We got to get wireless mics.
I'm having a weird day.
We're gonna start a Patreon.
Yeah, exactly.
We're buying wireless mics. Anyway, So no, he is his own character.
The comics.
In the comics.
Okay.
He is. It might be a different name, but I'm pretty sure it's Trask. And
It's so poor writing then.
He creates.
Because if you're writing for Marvel Comics and you create a Tony Stark like character and literally just rearrange Stark into this name and create an
Yeah. So the Sentinels are supposed to be much bigger.
Then.
Than they are in the movie.
Oh,
so
they were pretty fucking big.
Yeah, they're supposed to be even bigger.
How big are they supposed to be?
They're supposed to be basically like the size of a 2-story building.
They were.
Were they?
I mean, they were bigger than the White House.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You know, they towered over the White House when they were
true.
first revealed, and then they flew.
Yeah, that's true.
When he was taking.
Okay, so then they're the right size, but
I was gonna say, Jesus, are they the size of a planet?
Yeah, no, they're not Galactus.
Their
big.
ego.
The problem is that much like you see in some of the other movies, like in the Marvel MCU, they'll take a story, but they'll take characters that are supposed to be in it and basically repurpose their role to fit into a different character, right?
Right.
So the issue that this movie has is that in Days of Future Past, there's supposed to be a character called Bishop. And everything that Bishop does is what Logan does, but he basically comes back in time to be like, hey, this is really messed up in the future, and we got to stop it. And he just teams up with the X-Men that are already currently
So who is
there.
he?
And so
who's Bishop?
He's a mutant from the future that is trying to stop.
What's his superpower?
I forget which one his. I believe he can manipulate robotics or something.
What, have we ever seen him?
No, not in these movies.
In any movie?
No.
Why?
He is in this movie. Right, sorry. He is in Days of Future Past, but they don't use him as the character he's intended to be.
Okay. So they just needed Hugh Jackman in the whole movie.
Right. They just wanted Hugh Jackman in the whole movie.
So it was like, you know what? Fuck Bishop. Wolverine, you're going to do it.
Wolverine, you're going to do it.
You're going to do it. Okay.
Right. And so that's...
Because there was also a big thing in this movie because of Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Because this was his first appearance.
Correct.
And one of the things I read was there was a gigantic legal battle between Fox Marvel and Marvel Studios.
Correct.
Because they wanted to use Quicksilver, which they ended up using in Ultron. And obviously Fox wanted to bring him into this. And there was a whole big bunch of legalities. And it was going back and forth. And at one point, the kid who plays it in this was going to do it in both movies. Right. But then... last minute, Fox came back and said, "You know what? No, you can't do that." Yeah. It was like the whole thing in the MCU. They couldn't call them mutants.
What? They couldn't call them mutants, and they couldn't
reference
Magneto
as their parent, obviously. So it was just, it seems so silly. He's also never called Quicksilver in I think either movie.
No, he isn't.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
What is the big deal?
Oh yeah.
And honestly, that's, I think that's one of the things Fox has done better than the MCU is that those scenes are pretty fucking cool.
They are way cool.
Because in the MCU, he's just he runs off screen, runs back on screen, runs off screen, runs. Right. It's like, I get it. They didn't have one of those set piece scenes like the one in this and the next movie.
Yeah, they've built around Quicksilver having a moment.
Yeah,
and they just didn't do that in Age of Ultron.
I mean, it was the best scene in this movie. It was one of the scenes I'm just like, okay, that's really cool.
Yeah.
The rest was like,
yeah.
A lot of bad 70s wigs in this.
Yeah.
A lot of bad 70s wigs.
A lot of bad 70s wigs.
The main characters, they took a lot of care and a lot of, obviously, money on their wardrobe and their hair pieces. And then every other person in the movie was wearing a bargain basement wig and sideburns.
Yes.
Like every news reporter was like, you could see Richard Nixon's nose peeling off. It's like, what is happening here?
I know.
This is ridiculous. What did I say? It was over $200 million budget.
Yeah.
Sorry, they can't all go to animating the Ultrons, or whatever they're called.
Right. Yeah.
Sentinels.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
I know. It was really interesting just kind of watching this movie kind of all be the linchpin of tying everything together. because that's what it was intended to do.
Now, is this movie considered good amongst X-Men fans?
I mean, I enjoyed it when I saw it.
I was like, eh.
It was very much meh this time around.
Sure.
I also think that you have to kind of take place. What year did we say that this was released?
2023. Oh, when it was released, 2014, I believe.
2014. Yeah, so we're coming into phase 2 of Marvel.
Well, yeah, because they were, like I said, they were legally going back and forth between Ultron and this.
You know what I mean? So
which is hilarious because they're literally the same movies.
Right, they really are. It's really funny.
This movie built Ultrons, and this movie has Ultron, and this movie has a Quicksilver, and this movie has a Quicksilver.
Right. But you look at 2014, and you look at the gap was a lot closer.
Sure.
Right, because you know, obviously we end up blowing it out of the water with Black Panther, Ragnarok, Captain Marvel, Infinity War, Spider-Man Far From Home, right? And so those movies are far superior.
And then Fox just is like, I'm tapping out. Take it.
Yeah, right.
Take it.
Take it. But you look at this movie, and it's a lot closer to Age of Ultron.
Sure.
It's a lot closer to Thor, The Dark World. Yeah. It's better than Thor, The Dark World.
Well, that's true.
You know what I mean? It's closer to Iron Man 3.
Despite what the Russo brothers want us to think.
Captain America, The Winter Soldier.
See, I thought that was better.
Oh, that is better.
That's better.
That's better. But that movie, this movie is closer to that.
Sure.
You know, and so I think that's kind of where you're looking at.
I mean, there were positives. I'm not saying it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess me not being a fan, I just kind of looked at it like, I'm a little confused.
It's a lot. There's a lot of nonsense.
Also, what happens in their world? What do these guys see that they go from looking like James McAvoy and Fassbender to fucking Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen?
Well, that's the funniest thing is I was watching a review of Dark Phoenix, and somebody pointed that out where they're like, so you're telling me that within the span of 5 years, he goes from looking like McAvoy to Patrick Stewart?
So Patrick Stewart isn't in Dark Phoenix.
No.
It's following this timeline, the reboot timeline.
Yeah. So I think I don't. Yeah, because I didn't see Apocalypse.
Okay, I haven't seen that one either.
I didn't see Apocalypse, but I'm assuming Apocalypse takes place all the way in the past, like the near future, the like recent future of this. But again, they disregard the ending of this movie going forward because
fantastic.
Because the ending of this movie is he wakes up and everybody's alive and happy in the school, and then it's like, okay,
it was just a dream. We're just joking.
Yeah, and so it's like, okay, cool,
got your money.
It's like, okay, cool, but now, X-Men: Age of Apocalypse takes place 15 years prior.
Sure.
So
that's what, in the 60s or the 50s
or the 80s.
Oh, I'm so confused.
You know what I mean? So it takes place.
What are the rules?
What are the rules? Yeah, so it's just like, no. So you basically just added the failsafe that maybe you could put Hugh Jackman in Dark Phoenix and Age of Apocalypse if you wanted to do it.
He was in Apocalypse, I believe. Was he?
No.
Did that come in
no.
before or after Logan?
Logan before.
So he must have been in it.
No, I don't think he's in it.
I don't know.
I'll look.
Tweet at us. There you go.
I'm gonna look.
Or you can look that one up. I thought Dinklage was good in it.
I like Dinklage.
I did. I think he's a tremendous actor.
He is. Have you ever seen The Station Agent?
No.
Oh, The Station Agent is so good.
What's that?
It's the first movie that I've ever seen him in, and he basically plays this guy that moves to this small town and like lives in a station at a train station. Like
okay.
A train, and so like he's the guy that's like in charge of like at 3:00 you have to switch this switch so that the train goes this one way. It's like the only thing
that's
he
his
has
only
to do,
that's his only job.
You know, and he like took it over from his brother, and he ends up like, you know, getting a couple of friends, and you know, obviously it's a small town
gym station.
Yeah, but it's like it's obviously like there's a lot of prejudice because he's a dwarf, you know what I mean, and so
which isn't even brought up in the movie.
Right.
This one.
Yeah, this one, but it's in The Station Agent. It's like a big plot point because it's a small town prejudice, blah blah blah,
sure,
and stuff, you know, and so he's fantastic, and you should watch it.
And he's in the MCU.
And he's in the MCU as a giant dwarf.
As their version of dwarfs?
As a giant dwarf. That
hilarious psych gag for a second.
It was hilarious at this, and good on you.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Start the forge.
Yeah. I'll take the brunt of a star. Well, I won't die. No, that's exactly what'll happen.
That's exactly what'll happen. That's what killing you means. Hold the star, boy. Great voice on him, too.
Yeah, he's
fantastic.
great.
He's a good actor.
He should have won the Game of Thrones.
Did he not? I haven't watched it.
No, he didn't.
He didn't win the game. Is it a game?
No, well, he like shows up.
I know he's in it.
Yeah.
But he like won the game. You say won the Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
I'm
like somebody had to become the king at the end.
Is that how that works?
Yeah, I believe that's what we were building to.
What is this like? What was that movie? They basically ripped off Battle Royale.
The Hunger Games?
That one. Is that kind of like that?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Because Jennifer Lawrence is in that one too.
Yeah, she's in that
And
one.
she's in this. She's in this movie.
Yeah, no Hugh Jackman.
None?
No, he's
Look
not.
at that.
If he is,
He is. He's uncredited apparently.
He's uncredited because, yeah.
Well, that was a fun 5 minutes.
That was a very fun 5 minutes. Oscar Isaac's in it, though. He plays Apocalypse, and I like Oscar Isaac.
He's very, very heavily made up.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah, you can't tell it's Oscar Isaac.
Dare you put makeup on that handsome face?
I know.
Let's talk about the movie real quick.
Sure, we should talk about the movie. Olivia Munn's
So, there's 2 cuts of this movie. I actually own.
Oh, of course you do.
Of course I do. I got the Blu-ray. That because Best Buy had it for $4, and it was the Rogue cut, which actually came with the theatrical cuts. I'm like, all right, it's got both of them. I'll bring them both. Haven't watched the Rogue cut yet. I don't know if you know anything about it.
No, I don't.
It has more. Rogue is a character, I think.
Yeah, sure. She's a main character
She's
in the
Anna
first
Paquin,
3.
right?
Anna Paquin in the first
So there's
3
more
movies.
of her in that cut.
Yeah.
It's 10 minutes longer. I can't imagine what more they put into this movie.
Yeah, okay.
More of her doing stuff.
Don't care.
Haven't watched it yet. Sorry, this review's gonna be rough. But so we start in 2023 with Wolverine and the 2 old guys and
basically
so
the mutants are on the edge of extinction.
Some kid. I don't know. I recognized him. The redheaded kid. I don't know. With the beard.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's been in stuff. And
I just want to hear this review from you. I'm not going to chime in.
Then the girl who's not Anna Paquin.
Yep. Kitty Pryde.
Katie Pryde's not in this one.
Yeah, Kitty Pryde.
Kitty Pryde. Is
That's
that her name?
That's her name.
Is that a character name?
That's the character name. It's the girl from.
Okay.
It's the girl from Hard Candy.
Nope.
No, you've never seen Hard Candy?
Nope.
Wait, how? How have you not seen that? Oh, you've seen like Cheerleader Deathmatch 7.
Yeah.
And you haven't. Okay.
Did Quentin Tarantino release it on his Rolling Thunder thing just so he could do a commentary track over cheerleaders?
No.
All right, I haven't seen it.
No.
Anywho, she's doing things.
Yep.
She's like putting Wolverine to sleep, I guess, because he's the only one that can. I don't understand the whole time travel thing.
I don't understand it either.
So
if I'm being honest.
I mean, you said they were going to send Bishop back, but fuck him. I don't even know who he is in the movie.
He's the black guy in the movie.
Oh, I didn't know his name.
Yeah, he's the black guy in the movie.
I kept calling him not Idris Elba.
Yeah, not Idris Elba.
Idris Elba from Thor.
Yeah, and so imagine
with Halle Berry.
Imagine it's Terminator rules.
Okay.
Like in the comic books, it's Terminator rules, and they like send this dude back, and it's a one-way trip.
Okay.
So that's the comic book version.
Okay. But more than that, they kept saying they kept saying, oh well, Patrick Stewart wanted to go back, and like, well, you physically can't go back. And I'm like, he's handy capable. Don't tell him what he can't do.
Yeah, it's 2023, you asshole.
Seriously. And then basically Wolverine's the only one that physically can do it, which I don't understand because all you're doing is laying on a bed going to sleep.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Where's the physical challenge there?
It's ripping you apart on the inside and emotionally, I guess.
Yeah, but isn't that like his whole deal? Isn't that Professor whatever the fuck's whole deal?
Oh, I know.
He's the rip your mental shit apart guy.
Yeah, right.
Literally, they do it in the movie.
Oh, I know.
They go back and he stops taking heroin, and all of a sudden he can think again, and Wolverine's like, hey, look into my head. And it's just like, ah. And that's like, yeah. What the fuck?
Oh, I know. It's
what are the rules?
Yeah, Terminator rules.
Terminator rules my ass.
No, it's wishy-washy rules.
Let's be honest. They just wanted to get Hugh Jackman naked in this movie.
That's
exactly the whole reason we didn't get Patrick Stewart doing this.
Yeah.
For that, I thank you.
I don't know. They have that new Picard show coming to CBS All Access.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah, it's a Picard like standalone series.
I still haven't signed up for that.
I know.
Despite really wanting to watch the rest of the Twilight Zone, I haven't signed up.
Well, they keep releasing them on YouTube.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
fun.
They just keep releasing them on YouTube because they're
Your
like,
stupidity is my win.
Yeah, well, they're gonna get the money anyway.
Oh,
because of course they're gonna get the ad revenue right before it.
I got a blocker, bitch.
Yeah, sure, you're on red. I get it. But
Spam blockers.
They already got your money.
They do.
So
They
YouTube Red already got your money.
YouTube already has.
Sign up. Doesn't matter.
So they send Wolverine back
because basically
he apparently wakes up in a sexy party.
Yeah, of course he does because he's a sexy alcoholic.
Apparently,
he's a sexy alcoholic at this point.
Who has wooden things.
Yeah, he
coming
hasn't
out of his hands. He hasn't got his adamantium.
Correct.
I know that word.
Yeah, he hasn't gone through the Weapon X program yet, so he's got wooden claws as opposed to metal ones.
They were gross.
Yeah, they're bony.
I completely forgot that was part of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were gross.
Yeah,
Really
and so
bony
basically
stuff.
he's got to stop.
I will say this: all the metal jokes throughout it, it's like, ugh, I don't know if I've rolled my eyes harder in recent time because it's just like, we get it. He gets metal shit in him later.
Yeah, I
he
know.
walks to a metal detector and gives a little. Guess that didn't do it. Stop it!
Yeah, I know.
Not funny.
So the whole thing is that he's supposed to stop Mystique, who's Jennifer Lawrence, from killing Peter Dinklage.
Not Rebecca Romaine Stamos O'Connell.
Not Rebecca Romaine Stamos O'Connell. But
why not?
So
why wasn't she in this one?
So in this movie,
Where's her timeline?
So I don't know. She didn't want to show up.
Did they kill her at the end of this? I literally was finishing it as you walked in, so I haven't finished the movie.
So Mystique.
See, told you this review's gonna be rough. I don't know how it ends.
So Mystique comes in and she's trying to murder. She's trying to murder Peter Dinklage because
I got that part.
Because if when she murders Peter Dinklage, the government freaks out about mutants and say they're evil, they're super terrible, and gives him all the money to fund his project.
It's the government run ET.
Yeah, basically that's what ends up happening. But they end up he ends up building
He builds Ultron.
He builds the Sentinels anyway.
Wasn't the Washington Sentinels like an amateur hockey team back in like the AHL days?
The Washington Sentinels is the name of the football team from The Replacements.
Wow. It's weird how our brains work. But I knew it was in there.
Yeah, yep.
That name was in there, and it just sounded like one of those crappy AHL teams with like a generic red, white, and blue fucking jersey.
Yeah, you're thinking of The Replacements.
Wow. XFL the movie. It's in the archives, newageinsiders.com.
But yeah, so
okay, so she's building the Washington Sentinels.
So basically they're trying to
How do we work Keanu Reeves into this movie?
I love Keanu Reeves. Can we talk about John Wick 3? Because I love John Wick 3.
God, that was so much fun.
So much
See,
fun.
that was a fun movie.
Halle Berry
we should have
was
just dumped out on this one. we should have made an executive decision and just done John Wick 3. But you know what? Powering through, Halle Berry is in this. Halle's belly. What?
Halle Berry.
Her belly is in this one.
Yeah. She did Hot Ones, which is the chicken wing show.
Yes, it is.
On YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking
in
about
preparation for John Wick 3.
Yeah, so she was
Part of the
promoting John Wick
assassin
3. Yeah, it was amazing. She had to eat.
wings.
She had to eat really.
And she was in
wings.
this, and she dies.
Yeah, because she's Storm.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, and so
Stormbreaker.
Storm. No, that's a way better movie.
Start the forge. Stormbreaker.
Yeah, that's a way better movie.
Okay, so she dies in this, and now
Everybody dies.
Again, I'm not a huge fan, but it felt to me like that was one of those moments like Black Widow dying in Endgame. It was like that was like, it felt like she was that was her wrap up as a character. So it was like their kind of send off, especially the way they really kind of leaned on her.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it. I know she was in the first
3.
all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's in the first 3. She's
And now it's
actually-
like a kid or something, and isn't Tilda Swinton playing her now in the last? I don't know.
Tilda Swinton
Is she in that one?
No, Tilda Swinton's not.
I don't know. I saw the trailer, and there was like an albino-looking Tilda Swinton woman with white hair, and I figured, oh, they must just recast her as Storm.
No, so Storm is in.
And I was really impressed that there was no outrage over recasting a black woman with a white woman, but apparently I was just wrong about the casting.
Yeah, you're wrong about the character.
My bad.
I think that she's playing Emma Frost, is what I think she's playing.
What's that?
So basically,
Is it Tilda Swinton though?
no, it's not Tilda Swinton. It's not Tilda Swinton.
Is it Emma Stone?
No, it's not Emma Stone.
Shit.
Yeah, you're over 2. But
It's Emma Frost.
Emma Frost.
What'd she do? Freeze. She chills.
How have we not done Batman and Robin?
That's got to be on the docket.
Yeah, okay.
Come on, get your shit together. Cast Robert Pattinson and just get that out so we can start reviewing Batman movies.
Hey, I know. We do Batman month.
We do topical shit. Come on.
Yeah,
That's why we got this garbage on.
Yeah. But yeah, basically, my big issue with the whole movie, because ultimately the plot of the movie doesn't matter. It's
fun.
So basically, at the end of the day, Logan is successful. He stops basically the world from like hating mutants totally, and like the Sentinels from taking over.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's able to do that,
So, all right, wait a minute. I'm trying to remember First Class here, because Xavier and Magneto, like they were together for most of First Class, right? Like they were recruiting people
right until the end.
Oh, so okay, so they kind of they had their breakup at the end
Yeah,
there.
they had the breakup at the end.
Because I'm like, why do they hate each other? Because weren't they friends there, and then they're friends at the end of this shit? And it's like, why is everybody being dicks?
Well, that's the thing, is that him and Magneto in all of these movies, from First Class, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, and Dark Phoenix,
right?
They have like this like bromance enemy thing going on, where it's just like, I love you but I hate you.
It's very English.
It's very and it's just like, I love you but I hate you, and I be good. Oh, I can't because I'm a sassy bitch.
I do like the whole Magneto bit about the metal and how he's like buried in areas of glass guns and stuff. I thought that part was pretty cool. Again, that just plays into the Quicksilver thing, which all kind of revolves around that one scene.
Yeah, everything.
And I love how they just fuck him off.
Oh yeah.
It's like, we're going to just get on this plane and make a couple of go slow puns at you and take off, kid, even though he literally could save the day.
Oh, I know.
Like he could show up and just kind of, do his time in a bottle thing and just rip the Sentinels all apart in like 2 seconds, and everybody's cool.
Yeah, right.
Why are we bringing him?
Yeah, I know.
Why did we just leave him behind?
Yeah, because
why'd you leave anybody behind? It's a war, dude. It's like, if he wants to play, let him play.
Yeah, I know. It's very stupid.
It was so stupid.
It was really stupid. And then I think it's just weird because it resets the entire. The movie ends with the day being saved and Wolverine showing up and waking up in the school for the gifted youngsters, and everybody's alive, right? And so he ends up talking to Scott, Cyclops.
Scott!
Yes, thank you for enough. But he ends up talking to Scott, and because Scott dies at the end of X2. Like,
was it Martison playing him again?
Yes.
Okay.
And so like he's talking to him, and he's a dick to him, so he knows it's like real. Yeah. And then he sees Jean Grey, and Jean Grey's alive.
Was it Famke again?
Yes.
Okay.
And so like she's alive, and Patrick Stewart's alive, and everybody.
Had we introduced new versions of these people?
No, this is all the original versions.
No, I know these ones we're talking about, but I forget First Class. Were there new versions of them, like a younger version of them?
There were younger versions.
So they were okay.
But like,
now we're grown because we're back in 2023.
Yeah, we're back in whatever the current timeline was,
right,
or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I think that the way that this entire situation goes is like,
because the Dark Phoenix is Jean Grey, right? Like that. This is her movie.
Yes. Yeah. Correct.
I mean, I don't know if the Dark Phoenix is her, but this movie is like her movie. Like the basically the Scarlet Witch version of whatever the hell they're doing is her.
Yes.
See, that's why I'm so confused, because I'm used to Famke Janssen. I forgot that they. Is this the same one as the First Class one? I don't know what's happening.
Well, and that's the problem. That's the problem, because looking at the timeline of these movies, it seems like it goes.
Damn you, Brett Ratner.
Yeah, it seems like
blaming you.
It seems like it goes Wolverine X-Men Origins happens because there's so much time that happens in that movie.
Okay, here's the thing. With the exception of the Deadpool shit, I kind of liked Wolverine Origins.
Yeah,
I mean, I liked the Liev Schreiber stuff.
Yep.
I liked again. I'm not an X-Men fan, so I didn't get a whole hell of a lot of the story. But I thought that shit was really cool.
Yeah,
I thought
the
Liev
Deadpool
Schreiber was
stuff
great
bad.
as
Sabretooth.
Sure. Yeah, but then it was like, okay, then we just kind of fucked it all up.
Right.
And again, and here was the thing, because I knew nothing about the comic books.
Right.
So even after that, I was like, well, I know everybody's pissed that they didn't get the version of Deadpool they got, but was there any truth to this version? Like, was there ever a version in the comics of Deadpool that was kind of like this?
No.
Like any part of it, the pulling out everybody else's powers and stuff.
So that is true. So the part that they don't do in the actual Ryan Reynolds, the good one, is he's called so they keep giving him stuff. So the reason why, and they never address it, was they say it's like latent mutant powers in the good Ryan Reynolds one.
Okay.
But in the actual comic books, Wade Wilson gets cancer.
Yep.
He goes to basically Weapon X.
The big casino, Tony.
And they give him Logan's healing factor.
Right.
And so
which we have.
And so that's how he gets it. So there are
but in this one, he also had
like other people's problems.
He had adamantium fucking swords coming out of his goddamn. That never happened.
That never happened.
Did he ever get the red laser beams?
No,
thing?
but like the Nightcrawler teleport thing has happened before.
Okay.
So there's parts of it.
That reminds me. So in I don't know if Nightcrawler is the one in this movie that we're talking, Days of Future Past. Is she the one that kind of throws the jelly things that open up windows? And
No.
All right. Well, that was all fucked up too. What are the rules with that? Because she just kind of would open up a portal, and then like you jump through it, and then you pop out of a random ass portal that she didn't throw.
Yeah.
And it was I didn't understand that whole scene. Like
Yeah.
that whole thing made zero sense to me. Also, the metal guy. Come on, help me out.
Colossus.
Thank you. When he dives into something, it looks like he's like diving into the ocean or something like that, and all of a sudden he just like flips around like a mirror and knocks a sentinel. And I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, you have to, even in like chaotic wrestling, chaotic action scenes, you have to tell me how it works.
Right.
Because otherwise, I'm just going to be sitting there bitching to myself about how this whole how did that work?
Yeah, the
How does
problem...
that, like, I get Doctor Strange doing it. I get that. He opens it up. They drop out of wherever they're going.
Right.
But it's not like, I mean, it kind of just opened up everywhere in the last one. But at least in the fight on Titan,
Right.
there was some kind of like, he knew where everyone was and where they were going.
Yeah.
You know, like when he dropped Ant Lady out of the fucking sky, he knew where she was. When he sent, Banner across Central Park, he knew where he was. You know what I mean? It's like, this was just like, here's some, purple jelly, and it's going to open up and you're going to end up over there.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Right.
What? Why? It's not like, it's like when she opened up the portal, you could see over there. It was seeing like the ocean, and he just dives, and all of a sudden he's over there, and it's like but no.
Yeah, the problem is, your issue with this is that there are so many X-Men characters that if you followed it, you would, because if you're going to analyze it to that level.
I just didn't get that part of it.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't understand how this all works.
Right.
Like, I didn't need, like, by the time Infinity War came out, I had only seen Doctor Strange once, and I had forgotten all about it.
Yeah.
But I didn't need an explanation to figure this out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Okay, she drops down. I get it. He knew where she, like, that all made sense to me.
Yeah, right. That's fine. But yeah, it is what it's a movie that doesn't age well.
I guess not.
In a franchise that ages worse.
Yeah.
Because Logan is really good and Deadpool is really good, but those are the only shining gems now.
Right. Yeah.
Which I had a problem with Logan, but that's a story for a different podcast.
That's why we didn't put it into the running, because we'll definitely do Logan at a certain point.
Yeah, that's a story for a different podcast, because one of my favorite comic book miniseries is Old Man Logan.
Mm-hmm.
And again, much like I've talked about on other comic book stuff, it's really hard to do a show when you don't have a lot of the major players.
Sure.
And when you don't have the ability to have the Hulk in Logan.
Right.
Which I was praying that he was in. But if you don't have you can't do Old Man Logan properly.
Who has the Silver Surfer? Where does he fall in this whole
He's
thing?
a Fantastic Four character.
Have we seen him in the movies yet?
He was in the Fantastic Four sequel.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, it was bad.
Chickless in that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Chickless and Evans. Not Morgan. Lawrence Fishburne is the Silver Surfer.
What?
Yeah.
No, he isn't.
Yeah. He's the voice.
Oh, okay.
He's the voice.
Like, no, he isn't.
yeah, he's the voice.
No,
it's a CGI man.
That was actually one, we talked about it on the radio show. We were talking about Quentin Tarantino. He wanted to do Silver Surfer.
Cool.
Because you look in Reservoir Dogs, the Silver Surfer's always all in the background. There's like a poster and stuff. There's something in Pulp Fiction with the Silver Surfer. Like, he always has gone on record, especially in his early years, about really wanting to do something with that character, and it just never happened. It's kind of like he wanted to do Casino Royale for Bond, and they just were like, no, you're going to make it R.
Yeah, right.
Like, literally, that was their big thing. It's like, no, you're going to make it R. You're going to Tarantino it up.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
And Deadpool.
Yeah, but even still, like, he'd have to do the Punisher.
Really, though?
Yeah, you're not going to give... You don't give Tarantino an epic space opera because that's not going to work. But if you give him the Punisher,
sure,
he'll be able to do that, or somebody of that ilk, right?
I don't know, though. I mean, it's not like they were just throwing random shit at him. It's like he actually wanted to do it. So it was like, it sounded like something he was passionate about. Yeah. So I think maybe at least with that, like, they talked about an R-rated Star Trek with him, and like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Again, it just doesn't sound right.
It'd still be interesting.
Again, but here's the thing. If it's Captain Kirk on the Enterprise, I don't want Tarantino to do anything with it. But if it's a bunch
motherfuckering everybody.
But if it's a bunch of Klingons, like, yeah, okay. Okay, I can get behind that. You know,
a Tarantino on the Air Enterprise. That'd be some snappy dialogue there.
it would be. It just doesn't fit.
Set phases to motherfucker.
Yeah, we gonna stun this motherfucker.
Why is Sam Jackson playing Captain Kirk?
Yeah, what is happening?
Why is Sam Jackson everybody?
Yeah, why is Sam Jackson in this movie?
Oh my God!
But
he's not in Days of Future Past though.
No, he's not.
We're trying to talk about.
I do.
We're making a valid attempt.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
What else? What else we got? Let's talk a little bit about, because there's the Mystique stuff. I don't get it. Like, so does she think she's ugly when she's blue?
Yeah. So, well, that was the big thing in the first one. In the first one,
Okay.
right? So
The first which?
the first Days of
The original X-Men?
no, X-Men
First
Class.
Okay.
So basically, Xavier is trying to tell her to not be who she is,
So
right?
is that the flashback thing to the kids?
Yeah.
Okay, I got that.
Yeah. So don't.
Again, I think that's actually more my problem with these movies, is I never can tell how old everybody is.
Yes.
Because it's like apparently Mystique and Xavier are the same age, yet she's Jennifer Lawrence and he's
McAvoy.
Okay. So she's Rebecca Romaine Stamos O'Connell and he's Patrick Stewart.
Yes.
Doesn't line up.
No, that doesn't line up.
And I get it. They're mutants, so they age differently, I guess, but I don't get it.
Yeah.
And Wolverine never ages
Well,
until the end.
yeah. Well, the other thing with
Because he goes back in this movie to the 70s, and it's like he looks exactly like he did, and he looked that way in the origin story, which was like World War II and shit.
yeah. So the Wolverine thing is that
He's just always been Hugh Jackman.
The healing factor keeps him younger, so he ages a lot slower than people. So the reason why he's old,
that's right. They did do that in Logan.
right?
They talked about that shit.
Yeah, and then so in Logan, his healing factor is slowed, and so
Total Recall.
so he's
Quaid.
yeah, so he starts aging.
Okay.
That's what that is.
I guess that makes a little bit
Yeah.
of sense, but it still doesn't make it easy to follow this
And
shit.
then Rebecca Romaine Stamos can look like Rebecca Romaine Stamos O'Connell because her whole thing is about shape-shifting. So she can actually be Patrick Stewart's age.
Wasn't there one where like in one of these movies it was Jennifer Lawrence and then she turned into Rebecca Romaine?
She did.
Which one was that?
That was either this one or
And what are they
First
trying
Class.
to do there? Are they just making
That
a
was
joke?
that was just fan service.
But see, for someone like me, I'm lost at that point. I'm like,
Yeah,
but
see,
wait a
you're-
minute, she is.
You're overthinking it at that point. You're overthinking it because they're the same character.
Fuck them.
They're the same character.
I know that, but they're not. They're not the same person.
Right, and then you're overthinking it at that point.
And then she turns into Dinklage, and then it's I get the shape shifting shit, but it's like that's not cool. But it's not this movie that we're trying to talk about.
Yeah, yeah.
What kept standing out to me was the horrible 70s wigs.
Yeah, I know.
Throughout the whole thing, because they kept cutting the newsreel footage.
Yeah, and everybody
and all
awful.
the reporters, you could see the wigs coming up in the back of their necks. You could see the sideburns not connecting with the thing. Even Fassbender's sideburns weren't great.
No,
Like they were. I mean, I get it. I'm not someone who grows thick sideburns, but get some better hair appliances. Like, look,
it's a big budget movie.
here's a bad movie with great hair appliances. 3,000 Miles to Graceland.
Sure.
Kevin Costner's sideburns are awesome. They look great. You can see the creases in his skin through it. It's like they're like Bruce Willis hair pieces.
Yes.
They convinced everybody until he took it off.
Yeah.
Like until like the mid-90s, basically until Pulp Fiction. Even in Pulp Fiction, it was a fucking hairpiece, and it looked like because he was balding.
Yeah,
And
right.
it's like, just get his guy.
Get his guy.
Don't get
Right.
Travolta's guy. Get Bruce Willis's guy.
Yeah.
Because Travolta's, you could still see the glue.
Yeah.
Especially, the Pulp Fiction Blu-ray, you can clearly see the glue.
Yeah.
He actually just popped off his wig and kind of is embracing the whole bald thing on Instagram.
Oh, is he?
Travolta? Oh,
Good
yeah.
for
But
him.
for about a month now, he's been posting. He basically signed up for Instagram, did a couple of. It was probably to promote this Fred Durst movie that sounds just god awful.
I saw that for the first time. I was just like,
you watched it?
No.
Oh,
no.
it's going to be on Amazon and like because it's not even getting a theater run anymore.
No,
They delayed. It was supposed to premiere at Cannes, and they delayed it. They changed the name. Travolta wants reshoots. He's the producer. And it's basically, they announced like maybe yesterday that it's just literally just going to be dumped onto Amazon.
That's so funny. Yeah, because I saw a video of it that was like, John Travolta's in a Fred Durst directed movie. And
Which
it's just
sounds exactly like The Fan with De Niro and Snipes.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it sounds like. And I think at one time it was actually called The Fanatic or something like that. But now it's, I don't know, called Bad Hairpiece or something.
Sure.
But anyway, I think he signed up for Instagram for that. And like after a few posts where he was still wearing the bad wigs, he just kind of started not, and he was posting a lot of like selfie videos around his house and flying and stuff, and he's just rocking the ball. He's a good-looking bald guy.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, dude, you looked stupid with those stupid hair pieces. You weren't convincing anybody, and he's actually a good-looking bald guy.
It's a real shame that he's as crazy as he is.
Yeah, it is.
Because
he's a really good actor at times.
Right.
At times.
Well, and that's the problem.
Here's the problem, and here's the problem lately, because it's one of those things where he's a good actor when he's given the right material.
Right.
And his name is not on the producer's line.
Correct.
He can't pick good fucking material.
No.
Have you seen Gotti? I have.
No, I didn't.
I have. They clearly ran out of money and just used royalty-free video newsreel footage.
Yeah.
That's what we should do. Days of Futures Past. How do we get under Travolta? Hair pieces. Bad sideburns.
That's Days of Future Past.
Is it really? Wow.
That's got to be.
It's got to be.
We've DVR'd it.
We've picked at least the rest of the year. Now we got Gotti and a couple other things. Yeah, I guess that's Days of Futures Past. I'm sorry for people that like this movie. It wasn't for me.
The problem is that my biggest issue is retroactively.
Mm-hmm.
This movie was supposed to reset everything, and then they just ignored it. And so
so do you think their original plan was to have both versions of the people going forward, so you would always have McAvoy, Stewart going in movies?
So I think that I think what they ended up
Face Off.
I think what the plan was to be able to have two continuities, so you could have basically two franchises at the same time, right? You reset the original cast because you brought everybody back from the dead.
Right.
So you have that original X-Men trilogy cast
that
can be in movies. But then you also have the First Class that can tell stories up until whenever chronologically X-Men 1 takes place.
For a studio that for a franchise that really isn't that strong.
Yeah.
That's fucking lofty as shit.
Oh, yeah, no, it is. But I think that was the plan, the initial plan.
Like, we've talked about how, Marvel has, 23 movies now, and really only one is a real miss.
Yeah.
And it's like, even they didn't try to fuck with it that much.
Right.
They haven't fucked with their timelines to this extent. And it's and they just introduced time travel after 22 movies. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so it'll be really interesting. It'll be really interesting to see what happens going forward with the X-Men, because they're done. This is it with Dark Phoenix.
And everyone in this is like the young cast.
Yeah.
So it's not the Greco-Romain Stamos O'Connell. It's not the Patrick Stewart. No. It's not the Ian McKellens. It's McAvoys and Fassbenders and Jennifer Lawrence. Is she in it? Is she dead? I don't know.
Jennifer Lawrence is in
it. Okay, she's... All right. Who's Beast? Wasn't Kelsey Grammer Beast for 1 minute? And
Kelsey Grammer was Beast. He was older Beast.
Okay.
In X-Men 2 and 3. And then, what's his name? The kid. The
younger kid.
Yeah, but he's an actor as well. Like
I would hope so.
Yeah, no, but he's like a British actor.
Okay. All right. Is there a Quicksilver scene in this new movie?
I would assume so. Yeah, they're shown in the trailer.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
I got Showcase subscribe, so I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah.
Just for that,
maybe contractually obligated.
Just for that. What the fuck?
Contractually
Google's
obligated
listening to us.
Yeah, of course they are.
My phone just lit up. What is happening?
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess that's X-Men Days of Futures Past from 2014. I mean, thanks for voting, everybody. I wish we could have, liked it more.
Yeah.
Yeah. That shit's on us, I guess. But coming up next week, another one that's I think next week's going to be a bit more fun.
Yeah, probably.
Because with Men in Black International hitting theaters, we're going to be doing the original Men in Black from like 97.
I got a fun connection to this movie.
Ooh.
One of the.
Do you want to spoil it?
No.
Okay.
It's a very interesting connection.
All right.
But it's another thing where it's like,
all right. Fair enough. So next week is the original Men in Black. Thanks for joining us on That Movie Show. Mike Wendt, Liam Stryker. Follow us on social media at Mike Wendt, at Liam NAI, hashtag That Movie Show. You can subscribe, which you should be doing already, to this on any and all podcasts, iTunes, Google, Spotify, iHeart, fucking everything else. So just put in That Movie Show. You'll find the logo. You'll hit subscribe. You will enjoy these. Wow. I hope. Not this one, maybe, but
is that an announcement we didn't make?
What's that?
That we just got our own thing?
I mean, yeah, I kind of quietly opened it up like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I think we should tell people that might be listening on the
well, yeah, because okay, so if you're listening to this on the NAI pop version, you will notice that we keep talking about John Wick, yet you can't find it. It's because it wasn't fucking posted. Yeah, we have it on our thing though. John Wick episode does exist. We did John Wick, the original. Of course, Keanu Reeves was gushed about profusely on that show.
Keanu-verse.
But it wasn't posted. Yeah. Hot Fuzz just popped up like 2 days ago. But yeah, they're all there. They're all. I don't know why I keep pointing. Yeah. Because you're only seeing this on Facebook and YouTube, so that's just fucking weird.
Yeah. I guess.
But yeah, and any and all podcasts, you can see That Movie Show's logo right there, and just hit subscribe and tell your fucking friends, please. Yeah. Because we'd appreciate it. Yeah. That was a terrible sell.
It was bad. It tanked at the end.
It really did. It went down. I think it's because I'm sweating my ass off. It got real hot in here all of a sudden.
It was like 90 degrees today.
Fucking humidity. Anywho, it's That Humidity Show, everybody.
Hey.
All right, you ready to go?
Let's get out of here.
All right. See you next week with Men in Black.